Springs, those who are in attendance live and those who are visiting online. Those of you who are tuned in at home on
Don't mute them.
I accidentally did.
My first song is called A Time for All Good Things, and it's based on a Scottish tune. And also the verses in Ecclesiastes. To everything there is a season, there is a time for all good things, a time to plant and a time to reap, a time to laugh and a time to a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, a time to dance. To everything there is a season, there is a time for all good things. A time to follow, a time to lead, a time to speak and a time to heed, a time to sleep and a time to wake, a time to give and a time to take. For all these blessings of our God are given us that we might have a time to live and a time to share, a time to love and a time to care. A time, a time for all good things.
Good morning, dear friends, and I must give my apologies to our wonderful musical director, Bonnie Whitehurst. I didn't mean to step on her toes. I was out of order. What can you do? Welcome, dear friends. Welcome to our spiritual home, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tarpon Springs. Our church is located here in the heart of walkable Tarpon Springs Historic District and is known as the home of the Innes paintings. My name is BettyLou Cummins, and I am serving as worship associate today. We are a church of many welcomes, and we offer a warm welcome to all of you who have joined us. This is a liberal community for all ages, promoting spiritual growth, social justice, and the arts. As such, ours is an active church, and everyone is invited to participate in any of our activities, whether you are a member or not. To learn about events, our church calendar is on our website, uutarpon.org. Or you can discuss activities with church members or our membership chair, who will contact you if we have your information. Bonnie will be singing throughout the service, and you are welcome to sing along to the hymns and songs with your masks on. For those present with us in the building, we have connection cards available in the pews near the hymnals. If you fill one out and put it in the offering plate as you exit, we will be able to keep in touch with you. Reverend Kristina Spaude will be leading our service today, and of course, Bonnie Whitehurst is our musical director. We come now to our chalice lighting with words by George Kimmick Bleach. In the mystery of life about us, there is light. It gives us a place to be, to grow, to rejoice together. It opens the pathways to love. In this place of friendship, there is freedom. Let the light we kindle go before us, strong in hope, wide in goodwill, inviting the day to come.
Our story today is called The Secret of Saying Thanks. It was written by Douglas Wood and is illustrated by Greg Shedd. The world is full of secrets, gentle, shy things that some people know and some don't. The best secrets are the ones that make us happy. And the best thing about any secret is sharing it with someone else who wants to know. Perhaps you'd like to know a secret, one of the happiest of all. You will surely find it for yourself one day. You'll discover it all on your own, maybe when you least expect it. You might discover the secret at dawn, a morning like all other mornings. The sun climbs high over the edge of the earth and begins to fill the world with light and warmth. It touches your cheek with a golden ray, and you say softly, simply, "Thanks. Thank you, sun, for the gift of a new day, for all its choices and challenges, for all the beauty that it brings." Or sometimes perhaps you'll notice a flower as if for the very first time, and thank it and all of its bright siblings and cousins for the grace of their blossoms and the sweetness of their breath, for coloring your path and reminding you how easy it can be to smile. Or you might discover the secret when you find yourself under an old tree and grateful for the cool shade on a hot day. Stay a while beneath its limbs, remembering there the good and gentle gift of all trees over all the earth. Forests to explore, leaves to sing in the breeze, and roots to hold the earth in place, and simple lessons in how to grow. One long day you may stop to rest upon a rock, a silent stone that's been waiting age upon age for someone to come along and just say, thank you. Thank you, all stones and rocks and pebbles and hills and mountains. Thanks for your silence and patience, for standing still and not changing in a world so full of noise and speed and change. You may find the secret when you hear a bird sing and feel grateful for the gentle music of the skies, for flash of wing and brightness of feathers, for the good company of graceful creatures who dance upon the wind. And perhaps you'll remember to thank all the creatures who swim or crawl or creep or burrow or climb or run. Creatures with fur or feathers, horns or hooves or scales or shells. They remind us of the beauty and mystery of all life, and they save us from a great loneliness here on our small blue planet, sailing among the stars. And those stars themselves, tiny twinkling beams from far, far away, farther than you can even dream, that give just enough light for dreaming or wishing upon. Don't forget to thank them and the soft, shining moon, the night sun that helps us to find our way in the dark. Beneath the moon, the earth's waters are spread with silver, lakes and rivers, ponds and puddles, and streams and oceans. It is the waters that make the magic of life possible. Perhaps one day, taking a cool drink or paddling on a canoe or kayak, or swimming or splashing in the sun, you will remember to say thanks. Thank you, waters, for sweet drinks, for cool swims and reflecting sunlights, and for the gift of life itself. Maybe you'll first find the secret in your own home, sitting around a table with people you love, giving thanks for good food and the good earth that gave it, for the many hands that prepared it, and for family to share it. Perhaps one day you'll feel the secret when someone is holding your hand, or kissing away tears, or hugging you close, or reading you a story, or tucking you into bed at night and reminding you to say your prayers. Or it might be in your bedtime prayer itself, as you say thanks for sun and moon and stars and rocks and trees and flowers and waters and birds and animals and all those who love you, and for the love you feel for them. For here is the secret, if you've not already guessed it. The heart that gives thanks is a happy one, for we cannot feel thankful and unhappy at the same time. The more we say thanks, the more we find to be thankful for. And the more we find to be thankful for, the happier we become. We don't give thanks because we're happy. We are happy because we give thanks.
This song's title is called Everything, and Reverend Kristina introduced it to me. A friend of hers who is a music director at another Unitarian church wrote this song. His name is Hal Walker. And she said all she could think of was this song running through her mind as a ideal song for today's message. People always say, I admit that I never really tried it. Make a list of all the things you're grateful for. People say make a list, write it down and read it over. Let the words on the paper keep growing more and more. But I don't want to make a list, and I don't want to read it over. I don't want to listen to the voice that's knocking at my door, saying with a clear mind and a courageous heart, I can have roses on my window. And in no time, I could have a brand new start, and I could see those roses everywhere, everywhere I look, everywhere I look, everywhere I look, everywhere. People always say, forget about your own complaining, forget about thinking there's something missing here. People say give thanks with the pen on the lines of the paper. Let the words of the fountain flow like falling tears. But I don't want to change. I don't want to let go of my story. I don't want to lose the familiar fear, even though with a clear mind and a courageous heart, I can have roses on my window. And in no time, I could have a brand new start, and I could see those roses everywhere, everywhere I look, everywhere I look, everywhere I look, everywhere. People always say, I admit that I never really tried it. Make a list of all the things you're thankful for. People say make a list, the beginning of a grateful story. It's the opening act of loving more and more. But I don't want to write it down. I don't know if I'm really quite ready. What if I lose who I just 'cause I don't wanna make one, even though the whole world is telling me how. With a clear mind and a courageous heart, I can have roses on my window. And in no time, I could have a brand new start, and I could see those roses everywhere, everywhere I look, 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 everywhere.
Good morning, everyone. And I want to thank Barbara Rosen for saving me from a spectacular entrance by telling me there was a ramp. So, again, once, several years ago, I had to write an article about the Unitarian Universalist Church. And I stole the phrase, I think from the UUA, why are you, you? I thought that was clever. And so I'm going to tell you about how I chose to become a member of the Unitarian Universalist Church. When we were in Mexico, and we'd be sitting around the fire pit or under the palapa or at the pool, and one of us had become frustrated with the bone-crushing bureaucracy of Mexico, somebody would say, "That's it, I'm going home." Fill in the blank for whatever country. I mean, for my group it was Bogota, Tel Aviv, Toronto, Havana, Mexico City, and for us it was California. Now, for some reason, all of our friends thought that we would have the hardest time returning to the US, because when they went north to go to the great shopping mall in the sky, they could see the change from one year to the next, and they didn't think we could deal with it. And I said, no, I know exactly how I would restart my life. And I gave them a list. I would join a Unitarian Universalist church, join a Democratic club, find a radical feminist group, haven't found it yet here, find a good fabric store with people that shared my passion for sewing. The Unitarian Church saved my life once, and I knew that I could build a new life another time. So back in 1981, my daughter and I ran from an abusive relationship, and my company graciously moved me to Modesto, California. And if I thought that Denver, where I was moving from, was provincial, Modesto was horse and buggy, or so my East Coast, New Jersey, very privileged upbringing made me think. So I had attended an event called the 10 Outstanding Women of Stanislaus County, and there I met powerful, strong warrior women. And the next day was going to be a service at the UU Church, where I met some of these women face to face, and it was very impressive. I also met the then president of the National Organization of Women. I was really intimidated. She was also later became one of the 10 outstanding women. And through another organization, I had met my husband, who happened to be the treasurer for that UU Church. And through him, I became involved in the church. And let me tell you, I did not want to be involved in a church. But I became very involved with wonderful groups, and some of the members of the church were our mayor, our congressman, the editor of the Modesto Bee, several deans of departments of the 2 universities. So I guess Modesto wasn't all that provincial. And I was accepted for myself, not for my popular husband. My daughter and I were safe and loved, and involved and challenged. We had a very, very active RE, religious education class going for the kids. And my daughter went kicking and screaming and is a Unitarian Universalist today, by choice. And that president of now, she's one of my dearest friends still. She's not intimidating at all, but at that time I was not a very well-formed feminist. So I had never met a member of a Unitarian fellowship or church before, and my sister had a classmate that was a birthright UU. My sister attended a service, and then she came home and said, "That place is not a church, it's just a lecture series." So raised as Catholics in an Italian family, guilt and sin and ritual and dogma were shoved down our throats, or at least that's how I felt it was shoved down mine. And when we were forced to attend Lenten activities like the Stations of the Cross, I felt like I was one of the heathen sinners that probably was responsible for every spike that was hammered into Jesus. I felt nothing in the way of his pain and wished the entire morbid, horrible thing would end so I could go pee. I thought it was foreign and just a bit weird. So, and when the UU Church announced right after the First Baptist Church of New York City that they supported the woman's right to choose, I felt great relief because I wouldn't have to become a Baptist in order to follow my visceral belief that only women had the right to decide what to do with their bodies. So we moved on to Silicon Valley, and the Unitarian Universalist Church there was very churchy. It was not something that I got very involved in, but when the radical left abortion rights movement needed a space to organize, they welcomed us. And when Operation Rescue made threats against the church, the minister stood firm. She stated publicly that her church was not going to abandon the warrior women that were fighting so hard to keep abortion clinics open, and she marched beside us. In April 2020, I was running for my life again, but not out of fear. I was running to a new life. My husband of 36 years had died in Mexico. I sold our beautiful home and everything in it. I arrived in Spring Hill with a dog, a laptop, and 2 suitcases. And that is then I followed my plan. I briefly contacted a Unitarian church in Spring Hill, and it wasn't a match. And then I found here, this beautiful church. I also did join a Democratic club. I have not found a feminist group. But I want to say thank you to some people. Barbara Kostreva immediately called me, and we chatted, and she connected me to people. Donna McBurney invited me to the Charity Quilters group. Jane Neal invited me to join the Social Justice Council. Greg Rosasco hooked me up with News and Views. Kathy Perkins took me kayaking. This church is active in the community, and that's what I wanted. And for me, the UU religion is one of truth, social justice, and love. And the members of this church have welcomed me. I feel accepted, loved, and safe. And thank you all. I think I'm stealing the program.
We all memorize it anyway. Good job. I was going to sing a song called Inch by Inch, Row by Row, we're going to make our garden grow. But then I tried to figure out branch by branch, trunk by trunk, we're going to watch our roots not sunk. I don't know, something stupid like that. But anyway, I just wanted to give you a quick update. I'm Judy Pickett. I'm working on the Pledge campaign. And we're making progress. I'm so excited. Every day I go in and look at the mail. Judy Lucarelli, my partner in crime, Luke, is in Maine for Thanksgiving. So I go in and check the mail, and I open it up, there's another pledge form, and I update the spreadsheet, and I go excited. We're a little over halfway there, and I encourage you all to get your pledge forms in by the end of the month. If you don't get them in by the end of the month, you're going to hear from Luke or me. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
So now is the time in the service where we take our offering for the work and welfare of this church. Ours is a free faith, and for it to remain so, the church is also self-sustaining financially. Please go to our website, uutarpon.org, and click the donate button. Or you may mail your offering to the church at 57 Reed Street, Tarpon Springs, Florida, 34689. The offering will now be given and received.
Today, in place of a reading, I am offering words from Laura Kunkel, a lay leader I know deeply devoted to Unitarian Universalism. This piece was written in recognition that yesterday was Trans Day of Remembrance for our trans and gender non-conforming siblings who died by violence in the last year. It is unclear if it was the worst year on record for such violence or simply that news is being reported more accurately. But at least 46 people have been killed in 2021. Laura wrote, "We love and remember our trans siblings stolen from us this year. We love and remember all of our transcestors stolen from us throughout time and space. Our hearts are broken. May we find the care in our community to keep grieving and keep loving and keep living." Let us pray. Life, soul, love, we call out to you in our grief and our rage. We call out to you in our terror and our exhaustion. Please help us to gather ourselves together and to each other. Give us strength. Give us comfort. Give us care. Life, soul, love, we call out to you in our need for support and comfort. We call out to you in our dreams and wishes. Please help us survive. Please change the hearts and souls and of those who directly bring us harm. Please change the hearts and souls of those who allow harm to come to us through their absence. Life, soul, love, we call out to you in our sacred wholeness. We call out to you in our full humanity. Please sustain us as we love and fight for ourselves and our trans siblings right now and always. Please bring us to a day when we may live whole and sacred, reasonably safe in the great wide world. May it be so. Thanksgiving is a hard day to market for. I can tell you this from working years in retail. I guess that's why we start seeing the stylized signs and other household pieces appearing in stores that say things like gratitude and give thanks and blessed. We always celebrated Thanksgiving with my dad's side of the family when I was young. My aunts and uncles and cousins would come, and sometimes other extended family too if they were traveling. Or I remember my grandmother's siblings would come when I was very young. It was the classic kind of gathering, the big extended table with the small table, a further extension for the kids, sharing lots of food and lots of conversation and laughter. It's hard to say if it was just my kid brain or not, but I don't remember a lot of time at home spent on anything about Thanksgiving. Not the history, not the giving thanks. It was just a time to be with family, which I recognize as I'm older wasn't always common for everyone. But for me, it was just a part of how it was. Another big gathering as our family gathered for holidays and other celebrations, and I saw both sets of grandparents fairly regularly. Thanksgiving has a long history among U.S. Americans, dating most notably, we believe, to 1621. It was common in that period for people to mark religious celebrations and acknowledgments with either feast or fast. And following their first successful harvest, the colonists celebrated with a 3-day-long feast. It was not an annual event, but rather one that marked the end of a successful harvest following a year of devastation and death. And it wasn't the celebration that we hear about, the colonists and Native Americans coming together to have a great feast. The Wampanoag people extended hospitality to the pilgrims not because they were inherently friendly and hospitable, but because their leader, Usamequin, wanted an alliance to protect his people, who had been decimated by epidemic disease. Reaching out to the English was an attempt to secure support from rival tribes. Also noteworthy is that 2 or 3 of the Wampanoag greeted the colonists in English. The Wampanoag and other tribes had been in contact with the English and other Europeans for a century already and had experienced slave raiding of their tribes. Some of the Wampanoag had been captured, made slaves, taken to England, escaped, and returned to America and actually knew the English who arrived on the Mayflower. During the American Revolution, the Continental Congress designated 1 or more days of Thanksgiving, and ended in 1780, and in 1789, George Washington issued the first proclamation of Thanksgiving by a national government of the U.S., more than 150 years after that first Thanksgiving. Later, Presidents John Adams and James Madison did likewise. These were all celebrations of Thanksgiving, time for gratitudes, appreciation, and prayer and supplication to God. Throughout the 1700s and 1800s, Thanksgivings became more widespread as the colonists claimed more territory for themselves. In 1817, New York and several other states even officially adopted an annual Thanksgiving holiday, although they were all celebrated on different days, and the South was mostly unfamiliar with the tradition. For more than 35 years, Sarah Josepha Hale, who wrote Mary Had a Little Lamb, wrote editorials, letters, and other publications campaigning to establish an annual national Thanksgiving holiday. If you're into trivia, for her efforts, she has earned the nickname of Mother of Thanksgiving. But multiple sources attribute the change in the Thanksgiving narrative that resembles what we know today to an 1841 publication. A footnote was included that referred to the 1621 Thanksgiving as the first Thanksgiving, the great festival of New England. The publication reprinted Edward Winslow's description of the event to an acquaintance in England in what so far is the only surviving letter recounting that day, mostly because at the time it wasn't much of an event worth noting for any reason. I will add another tidbit for our trivia fans. The publication that changed the story of the first Thanksgiving was authored by Unitarian minister, the Reverend Alexander Young. Because of Hale's and Young's work, Thanksgiving became an ever more popular holiday as its myths became the story of a nation. In 1863, when President Abraham Lincoln scheduled the holiday for the final Thursday of November, he asked for Americans to commend to his tender care all who have become widows, orphans, mourners, or sufferers in the lamentable civil strife, and to heal the wounds of the nation. The date for Thanksgiving changed in 1939 as Americans were desperately struggling with the Great Depression, when the date was moved up a week in an effort to spur retail sales. This was so opposed that it only lasted for 2 years, and President Roosevelt returned it to the last Thursday of November in 1941. And over the last few generations, Thanksgiving has become the misshapen holiday it is today, one that features staple foods that are not what was had at the first so-called Thanksgiving, and parades and puppy bowls and football games broadcast, and the ever-encroaching beginning of Black Friday that seems on the verge of draining and eclipsing Thanksgiving of what quiet joys it has to offer. I come from people whose way of giving thanks usually sounds like, give thanks it wasn't worse. Maybe it's a Midwestern thing, or an Appalachian thing, or a Scottish or German thing, or a trauma thing, or how lucky would I be for it to be all of those things? So I am not one to keep a gratitude journal or focus on the things I'm thankful for in my own life. Honestly, even though I know that these things are helpful, research shows again and again. I taught this kind of thing to patients when I worked as a chaplain in a hospital for years, but it's just not my thing. I resist it, just like Hal did in the song. Part of my resistance stems from the actual mechanics of it, physically having to make a list. Part of it stems from the number of people who give thanks from a place of great privilege for things that they have because of some level of privilege. Some of it has to do with the levels of falsehood I've witnessed, the disingenuousness. I remember a company I worked for some years ago now. Although the company had a fairly toxic corporate culture, every conversation and email ended with a thanks or a thank you. I'd never experienced anything like that before and wasn't sure what to make of it. I don't know what this congregation is like in good times. I've only known you in pandemic times. But I see the toll the pandemic has been taking on you no less than it has taken on everyone else. Everyone is so stressed, and even if we don't feel it in our bodies at any given moment, I know that we are feeling it because of how we interact with each other. Again, not just you, everyone. We can all get really focused on minutia and overstepping roles, trying so hard to control the things that we feel like we can have control over, because the number and the bigness of the things we can't, don't, and won't have control over are so present for us. And so we don't do a good job of being thankful. We dive right into whatever work we have set before us, over and over. While we think this is helping us streamline our productivity, it also perpetuates the cycle of disconnection and burnout so many of us have been feeling. News broke this week that more than 100,000 Americans died of drug overdoses in the 12-month period following the start of the pandemic, up almost 30% from the prior year, and the highest number on record. We are all suffering. We all feel disconnected, and it is literally killing some of us. This pandemic has taught us many, many things. One of them is that we need to be generous and to have grace with each other and ourselves. And this isn't something we need at this or that moment, but all the time. And that we need to make this real by practicing, by cultivating, by stewarding it. Zen master and Vietnamese monk Thich Nhat Hanh has said, "Sometimes your joy is the source of your smile, but sometimes your smile is the source of your joy." Of course, we can smile disingenuously, but if we do so with sincerity, it's hard not to feel something shift. It's similar with gratitude. I can't guarantee that being grateful will make you happy, but practicing being grateful does create a shift. It makes some space. I've witnessed this in some of the meetings I've been a part of where I've used chalice lightings or check-in times to ask people to name what they're grateful for, specifically in relation to this congregation. Practicing gratitude cultivates a generosity of spirit. It helps us disrupt or break out of our sometimes too focused laundry list of tasks and lets us just be present, be aware, make space, not just in our minds, but in our hearts. That space that is opened is one of the ways that we connect and reconnect with each other, with this congregation, with our sense of meaning and purpose in this world. There are a lot of things we don't get to choose in life, but opening our hearts is a choice we can make over and over every day. And this morning, for those of you who are with us in church, I have thank you cards that you can write to someone. And if you'd like one or two, you are welcome to grab more. I have been thinking to ask people to write thank yous specifically to others in this congregation, but you can write it to whoever you need to write it to right now. And if you are joining us on Zoom or YouTube, I invite you to send an email or make a call or send a text to someone to say thank you. Tell them that they matter. Open both your hearts this Thanksgiving. Because with a clear mind and a courageous heart, we could have roses on our windows. Within no time, we could have a brand new start, and we'd see those roses everywhere. Please join in singing now our closing hymn, number 1010.
Yes.
In the teal hymnal, We Give Thanks.
And we'll sing it twice through. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for the time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for the time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
Our closing words come from Jean Harrison Newyar, who has written in The Gift of Faith. In the lore of ancient China, there is a story of a philosopher who was asked, "Where is the road called hope?" He replied, "It does not exist, but as people move forward upon it, it comes into being." I invite you to continue moving forward on this path called hope, giving thanks all the way with me. Bonnie will now sing Spirit of Life, hymn number 123 in the gray hymnal.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come
We extinguish the chalice with words by Cynthia Landrum. We leave this gathered community, but we don't leave our connection. Our concerns, our care for each other, our service to each other, to the world, and to our faith continues. Until we are together again, friends, be strong, be well, be true, be loving. We have several announcements, okay? We invite those of you here in the building with us today to gather in the forum after the service for a meeting with our friends on Zoom to share joys and concerns. Also, the Reverend Milton Smith will talk with us today on Zoom. We hope that you're able to stay for that, okay? We're also planning to purchase Christmas gifts for the children at Head Start in Tarpon Springs. This year we are asking for donations, and George Scheidinger, okay, will handle the purchases and wrapping of all the gifts. Yeah. Envelopes are available now in the social hall by the tree, and you'll see it as you leave. Please place your donation in the envelope and then place in the collection basket in person at our Sunday service, or donate online at UUTarpon.org and make a note that it's for the Head Start Christmas gifts, okay, in the note section. The suggested donation will be $10 to $20, but please feel free to donate whatever you feel called to do. All donations must be received on or before December 19th, okay? And please contact Jane Neal if you have any questions. Her email is chijane1@verizon.net. You want me to repeat? It took me a while. chijane1@verizon.net. Okay, all right, if you have any questions. Okay, thank you all so much. I hope to see you back in the forum room. Go now in peace.
My postlude is a song. The music is by Henry Mancini, who had 3 children. His son, Paul, is a music producer in California. His daughter, Monica, she does a lot of concerts. I've been to some of the concerts that she sings of her father's music. But in this song, the lyrics are by Monica's twin sister, Felice, and she is the head of the Mr. Holland Opus Foundation. And so she wrote the lyrics to this. And I don't think she was super old when she did it. It's called Sometimes. Sometimes, not often enough, we reflect upon the good things, and those thoughts always center around those we love, and we think about those people who mean so much to us, and for so many years have made us so very happy. And we count the times we have forgotten to say thank you, and just how much we love them.